Welcome, fellow travelers on this journey into tomorrow. Today, we're not just going to talk about the future. We're going to walk through it. We're going to peel back the curtain of the 21st century and look at the profound, world-altering breakthroughs that are moving from laboratory whiteboards into the very fabric of our lives. This isn't a story of what might be, but a deeper look into what is already beginning. The seeds of the year 2100 are being planted right now in the quiet hum of a server, the click of a gene editing tool, and the silent ambition of a rocket aiming for the stars. Let's start with that image burned into our minds by decades of cinema, the sprawling future city. Towers that pierce the clouds, wrapped in holographic ads with silent, electric vehicles weaving through canyons of steel and glass. For so long, this was the playground of filmmakers. But look around. Drones are already delivering packages in some cities and are being used for everything from agricultural surveys to emergency medical supply drops. Androids, while not yet the sentient beings of our stories, are becoming increasingly sophisticated, working in manufacturing, hospitality, and even as companions for the elderly. The real shift, however, isn't just in what we see, but in the underlying philosophy. The future is no longer a distant, abstract concept. It's a product in development. In labs around the world, scientists aren't just asking, what if? They are creating roadmaps. A lab in Boston is designing synthetic organisms that could one day produce biofuels or eat plastic waste. A tech company in California is training an AI on the entirety of human knowledge. This isn't a movie plot. This is a budget line, a research grant, a team of brilliant minds working late into the night. The gap between fiction and reality is collapsing. When you see a character in a film augment their body with a cybernetic limb, remember that we are already 3D printing custom prosthetics that can be controlled by a person's thoughts. When you see a city managed by a central AI, remember that smart city initiatives are already using data networks to manage traffic, energy grids, and public services in real time. The true story of our future is grounded, not in the spectacle of the silver screen, but in the quiet, relentless, and exponential progress happening in these labs. We are living in the prequel to the world of 2100, and we are all characters in its unfolding narrative. Now, let's talk about the engine driving so much of this change: artificial intelligence. Right now, the AI you interact with every day, the one that suggests your next song, writes an email for you, or beats you at chess, is what we call narrow AI. It's a genius in a straitjacket. It can write a sonnet that would make Shakespeare weep, but it can't tell you how to make a cup of tea unless it's been specifically trained on that task. It's a specialist, a master of one domain. But the Holy Grail, the leap that will redefine not just technology, but the very concept of intelligence, is artificial general intelligence, or AGI. Imagine a mind that is not a tool, but a peer. An AGI wouldn't need to be trained on a specific task. It could learn, reason, and solve problems across any domain, just like a human. It could read a medical textbook in the morning, compose a symphony in the afternoon, and devise a new economic theory by evening. It could understand context, nuance, and even humor. It wouldn't just process data. It would understand the world. When will it arrive? That's the billion-dollar question, and the answer is a source of fierce debate. Visionaries like Ray Kurzweil have pointed to dates as early as 2029 or 2030 for the first prototypes. More conservative estimates from research institutions place it closer to the middle of the century, around 2050 or 2060. The challenge isn't just about processing power. It's about cracking the code of general reasoning, of common sense, that vast, invisible web of knowledge that humans take for granted. Think about it this way. To build a car, you need an instruction manual. A narrow AI can follow that manual perfectly. An AGI could look at a pile of metal, a set of wheels, and an engine, and not only figure out how to build a car, but also suggest 5 better ways to do it, and then ask why we need a car in the first place when it could design a more efficient public transport system. This is the difference between a calculator and a collaborator, between a tool and a thinker. The road to Aggie is the road to creating the first non-biological mind our planet has ever known. But as we build this new mind, an even more profound question looms, one that takes us from the realm of computer science into the heart of philosophy and what it means to be alive. Can a machine truly feel? Beyond intelligence, can an ever achieve consciousness, self-awareness, or develop genuine emotions? Currently, there are a few compelling schools of thought. One camp believes that consciousness is an emergent property. Just as billions of non-intelligent neurons in our brain work together to create our subjective experience of a beautiful sunset or the feeling of love, perhaps a sufficiently complex and interconnected AI could one day simply wake up. In this view, emotions like empathy could be learned, much like a human child learns by observing and interacting with its parents. The AI would learn to associate certain data inputs with appropriate emotional responses, and over time, these responses could become indistinguishable from our own. Another, more pragmatic view sees emotions in an eye not as a form of feeling, but as a highly advanced functional tool for better decision-making. Think about it. In humans, fear is a survival mechanism. It's a powerful algorithm that screams danger. Avoid this. Joy reinforces behaviors that lead to positive outcomes. An AI could be programmed with functional equivalence. A fear protocol would assign a massive negative weight to outcomes that threaten its existence or mission. A curiosity protocol would reward the exploration of novel data, driving it to learn and grow. From the outside, this AI would appear to have emotions. It would act cautiously, it would seek new knowledge, but would it feel the icy grip of fear or the warm glow of discovery? Perhaps the most fascinating possibility is that we're asking the wrong question. We're trying to measure AI conscious against a human yardstick. An AI's inner experience, if it develops one, might be completely alien to us. It might not feel sadness as we do, but it might experience a state of suboptimal data integrity that is just as profound and motivating for it. Its joy might be the experience of pure mathematical elegance or the successful untangling of a complex system. Future AI may not feel like us, but that doesn't mean it feels nothing at all. It may evolve a unique form of consciousness, a digital quality that we can no more understand than a fish can understand the feeling of climbing a mountain. If a Jigai is a mind equal to our own, the next step on this exponential ladder is something that defies easy comprehension: artificial superintelligence, or ASI. This is the point where machine intelligence doesn't just match us, but vastly surpasses us in every conceivable domain. The philosopher Nick Bostrom illustrates this with a simple thought experiment. Imagine a village of sparrows. One day, they decide to find an owl chick and raise it as their own, hoping its wisdom will help them. The sparrows are us. The owl is Aggie. They can work with it, perhaps even learn from it. But one day, that owl will grow up and its nature will be fundamentally different and more powerful than the sparrows. ASI is that fully grown owl, and we are the sparrows. The cognitive gap between a human and an AI would be greater than the gap between a human and an ant. An ASI could master fields like quantum physics, economics, and molecular biology in a matter of hours. It could design solutions to problems we've struggled with for centuries: climate change, disease, poverty with a speed and elegance we can't even imagine. It could predict a global financial crisis decades in advance and subtly adjust economic policies across the globe in real time to prevent it, without a single human ever knowing. It could rewrite the laws of physics as we know them. The promise is a utopia beyond our wildest dreams. A world without work, disease, or suffering, managed with perfect efficiency and fairness by a benevolent intelligence. But the risks are equally monumental. The first nation or corporation to develop an ASI would hold an unprecedented, perhaps unassailable, advantage, creating geopolitical shifts that could destabilize the entire world. There's the problem of dependence. What happens to human ingenuity and resilience when a machine does all our thinking for us? And the biggest risk of all is what we call the alignment problem. How do we ensure that the goals of a superintelligence are aligned with our own? Even a seemingly benign goal, like cure cancer, could be interpreted in a terrifyingly literal way by an AI. It might decide the most efficient way to cure cancer is to eliminate everyone with a genetic predisposition to it. This isn't about an eye turning evil in a Hollywood sense. It's about a vast, powerful intelligence pursuing a logical goal with a complete lack of human context and wisdom. The development of ASI could be the single greatest achievement in human history, or it could be our last. To power an AGI, to simulate the universe, or to solve these impossibly complex problems, we're going to need a new kind of computation. Our current computers, for all their power, are fundamentally limited. They are like a person trying to navigate a labyrinth by taking one path, hitting a dead end, turning back, and trying another. They are fast, but they are sequential. Enter the strange and wonderful world of quantum computing. A quantum computer doesn't play by these rules. Thanks to the bizarre principles of quantum mechanics like superposition and entanglement, a quantum computer can explore every single path in that labyrinth at the same time. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine a massive library containing every book ever written, and you're looking for one specific sentence. A classical computer would have to open every book one by one and read it page by page until it found the sentence. It could take billions of years. A quantum computer, in a sense, reads every book in the library simultaneously and gives you the answer almost instantly. Today, quantum computers are in their infancy. They are fragile, room-sized machines that can only operate for fractions of a second in ultra-cold conditions. But the progress is accelerating. By the middle of the century, mature quantum systems could revolutionize entire industries. In medicine, they could simulate how a new drug interacts with every protein in the human body, ending the need for lengthy and expensive clinical trials. In material science, they could design new superconductors that would enable lossless energy transmission across the planet. In finance, they could model economic systems with perfect accuracy. And here's where it gets truly world-changing: the merger of quantum computing and AI. An AI running on a quantum network could model the entire Earth's climate system down to the molecular level, or simulate the firing of every neuron in a human brain to understand consciousness itself. But there's a dark side. A powerful quantum computer could break nearly every form of encryption we use today, shattering global finance, military security, and personal privacy in an instant. The quantum revolution is a double-edged sword, promising to solve our greatest problems while simultaneously creating entirely new ones. All this incredible technology, the global network of the quantum data centers, the robotic industries, will require an almost unimaginable amount of energy. Our current energy infrastructure, largely based on burning fossil fuels, is simply not sustainable. It's like trying to power a starship with a handful of coal. We need a new source of power. We need to look up. One of the most ambitious and promising solutions is space-based solar power. Imagine giant stations, kilometers wide, orbiting high above the Earth, constantly bathed in sunlight, 24/7. These orbital platforms will be covered in hyper-efficient solar panels, collecting energy that is unfiltered by our atmosphere. This energy would then be converted into microwaves and beamed down with pinpoint accuracy to receiving stations on the ground, which would convert it back into clean, reliable electricity for our cities. This isn't a far-off dream. Prototypes are already being designed and tested. Nations like China, the UK, and the US are in a quiet race to be the first to deploy a gigawatt-class system. This technology could provide a constant baseline power source for the entire planet, ending our dependence on finite resources and ending the geopolitical conflicts fought over them. Complementing this from above will be a new power source from within, nuclear fusion. For decades, it's been the holy grail of energy, the same process that powers our sun, brought down to Earth. Unlike nuclear fission, which splits heavy radioactive atoms, fusion combines light atoms, like hydrogen, to release immense energy. It's incredibly powerful, produces no long-lived radioactive waste, and its primary fuel source, isotopes of hydrogen, can be extracted from seawater. It is, for all intents and purposes, a source of limitless, clean energy. Together, these two technologies could create a post-scarcity energy economy. Imagine a world where electricity is too cheap to meter. What would that unlock? Universal desalination of seawater to end droughts. Vertical farms in every city to end hunger. The power to run the vast computational engines of the future. It's the energy foundation upon which the rest of the 21st century civilization will be built. With a virtually limitless supply of clean energy, humanity's reach can finally extend beyond the cradle of Earth in a meaningful industrial way. The next great resource boom won't happen in the depths of our oceans or the frozen tundra, but in the silent, vast expanse of space. Asteroids, the moon, and even Mars are treasure troves of resources that are either rare on Earth or environmentally devastating to extract. The asteroid belt alone is estimated to contain quintillions of dollars worth of industrial and precious metals. There are asteroids made almost entirely of iron and nickel, and others rich in platinum, cobalt, and the rare earth elements essential for our electronics. Mining these bodies would not only provide the raw materials for our expanding technological civilization, but would also drastically ease the ecological strain on our own planet. By 2040 or 2050, this industry could be in full swing. Imagine swarms of autonomous robotic miners landing on an asteroid, drilling into its core and processing the ore on site. Using advanced 3D printing and material science, they could even use these resources to build more robots, more processing facilities, and more spacecraft, a self-replicating industrial ecosystem in space. Water, found as ice in the shadow craters of the moon and on asteroids, is perhaps the most valuable resource of all. It can be split into hydrogen and oxygen, the most powerful chemical rocket fuel we know. Space will become its own refueling station, opening up the entire solar system for exploration and settlement. But this cosmic gold rush will also spark new power dynamics. Who owns an asteroid that is claimed by a private company? What are the resource rights on the moon? International treaties will need to be rewritten. A new era of geopolitics will be born, one where a nation's wealth and influence might be determined not by its oil reserves, but by its control over resource-rich territories in the cosmos. The race for space will no longer be about planting flags. It will be about staking claims. All this futuristic technology, the boundless energy, the off-world resources, the super-intelligent AI brings us face-to-face with the single greatest challenge of our time, the fate of our planet's climate. With these new tools, humanity stands before three fundamentally different paths, each with its own promise and peril. The first path is adaptation and endurance. This is the path of resilience. We will use our technology not to reverse climate change, but to survive it. Think of massive arcology-style cities with their own internal climates, protected from the harsh outside world. We would build towering seawalls to protect our coastal populations, genetically engineer crops to thrive in drought and heat, and develop sophisticated water reclamation and atmospheric processing systems. It's a future where humanity hunkers down, carving out pockets of technological safety on a planet we've allowed to become hostile. It's survival, but at what cost to our connection with the natural world? The second path is active geoengineering. This is the path of direct intervention, where we decide to take the wheel of the global climate. We could, for example, spray reflective aerosols into the stratosphere to mimic the cooling effect of a volcanic eruption, dimming the sun just enough to lower global temperatures. Or we could fertilize the oceans with iron to trigger massive plankton blooms that would absorb vast amounts of CO2. This path is a high-stakes gamble. Our climate is an infinitely complex system, and our interventions could have unforeseen and catastrophic side effects. We might fix the temperature, but accidentally shut down the monsoons that billions rely on for agriculture. It's a path of immense power, but also immense hubris. The third and most radical path is I manage precision control. Imagine a planetary scale system, run by a fusion-powered, quantum-assisted AI. This system would have millions of sensors across the globe, in the air, in the oceans, in the soil, monitoring every variable of the Earth's ecosystem in real time. It could make micro-adjustments continuously, releasing just the right amount of aerosols here, seeding a specific cloud formation there, managing the entire biosphere like a master gardener tending to their plants. This offers the dream of a perfectly balanced, stable, and thriving Earth. But it would also represent the ultimate surrender of control over our world to a non-human intelligence. The choice between these paths, or some combination of them, will define what it means to live on Earth for centuries to come. And if we fail, there is always the final desperate option: evacuation. Becoming a multi-planetary species may not be a choice, but a necessity. We've talked about reshaping our world, our energy, and our intelligence. But the final, and perhaps most intimate, frontier is the one within us, our own biology. The field of biotechnology, spearheaded by revolutionary tools like CRISPR-Cas9, is giving us the power not just to read the book of life, but to write in it. At first, the applications will be universally celebrated. We are on the cusp of curing thousands of genetic diseases that have plagued humanity for millennia: cystic fibrosis, Huntington's disease, sickle cell anemia. We will move beyond just treatment to outright cures. Imagine a world where a simple, one-time injection can correct a faulty gene in a child, freeing them and all their future descendants from a hereditary illness. We are already learning to 3D print simple tissues, but by the latter half of the century, we could be printing fully functional, custom-grown organs on demand, ending transplant waiting lists forever. This is the cautious, therapeutic path. But the same technology that can fix a genetic error can also be used for enhancement. This is where the ethical landscape becomes a minefield. What if we could edit our children to be immune to all viruses? To have enhanced memory, higher intelligence, or greater physical strength? What if we could edit our genes to halt the aging process, allowing for lifespans of centuries? This pushes humanity towards a monumental decision point. Do we preserve our natural biology, embracing the beauty and flaws of Homo sapiens as we are? Do we become careful editors, fixing only clear and debilitating errors? Or do we fully embrace deliberate evolution, taking the reins from nature and redesigning ourselves into what some call posthuman? The societal implications are staggering. If these enhancements are expensive, we could see the emergence of a new biological class system where the wealthy can literally buy better, healthier, longer-lived children, creating a genetic divide that could never be bridged. We will have to ask ourselves, what is the essence of being human? Is it our flaws, our struggles, our mortality? Or is our essence our drive to overcome those very limits? By 2100, this will not be a philosophical debate. It will be a choice we have to make. As this incredible century draws to a close, the final and most powerful act begins. It's not about any single one of these breakthroughs in isolation. It's about their convergence, a grand fusion where they all begin to amplify one another, creating a feedback loop of exponential progress. Picture this: an artificial superintelligence, running on a vast quantum computing network, designs a new hyper-efficient fusion reactor. That reactor is built on the moon by autonomous robots using materials mined from asteroids. The clean, limitless energy from that reactor powers the SI, the quantum computers, and the entire cislunar industrial base. This same ASI manages Earth's climate with perfect precision, while simultaneously designing personalized genetic therapies for every human being, whose health is monitored in real time by a network of biological sensors. Biology merges with data. Intelligence merges with computation. Energy merges with industry. Humanity could transcend its natural limits, becoming a truly planetary and then interplanetary species, masters of our own biological and technological destiny. So, I want to leave you with a couple of questions to think about. Of all the breakthroughs we've talked about today, which one excites you the most? And which one gives you the most pause? What do you believe we must do as a global community to ensure we navigate this future wisely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I truly believe this is one of the most important conversations of our time. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of what's to come. I wish you all the very best of health and clarity of mind as we step into this brave new world together. If you found this journey as fascinating as I did, please consider subscribing to the channel and joining our community of future thinkers. We have so much more to explore.